Hello, I am John Robert Mackay Harbour and I'm standing on top of Duncryne Hill, or as it's known locally, the Dumpling. And we're just above the small village of Gartocharn on the south side of Loch Lomond. And you'll see Loch Lomond stretching beyond me, all the way up, 23 miles long. And at the top it's very narrow, and down here it's about 5 miles wide. Loch Lomond is one of the largest lochs in Scotland, beaten just by Loch Ness. And Loch Ness, where it's only got one island, Loch Lomond has 60 islands, and 3 of those are occupied, 2 by humans and 1 by wallabies. The wallabies were brought here in the 19th century by Lady Colquhoun of Luss. And we'll go on to see Luss in the very near future. One thing I want to talk about is the Colquhouns. The Colquhouns were one of the local clans. They owned most of this area. And if you look off to my left, your right, you will see across the mountains the lands of the MacGregors, and off to the left are the clans of the Colquhouns. And I'll be talking later about one of the great and fiercest battles in this area, the Battle of Glen, Fruin, where the MacGregors fought the Colquhouns to devastating effect. Loch Lomond is very well known for the song The Bonnie Bonnie Banks, and I want to tell you a little story about that. And it's 2 young men who had gone down to Preston with the Jacobites, and on their return to Scotland they were captured at Carlisle. Carlisle's just over the other side of the Scottish border. And when they were in prison that night, the jailer came to them and said, "One of you will die in the morning, and one of you will return home to tell your kinsmen not to invade England." The brothers argued, and the younger one said, "You're the head of the family, you must return." The elder brother said, "No, you're the youth of tomorrow, you must go back and tell the family what's happened." Anyway, they went to sleep, and in the morning the young brother woke up to find the other bed that his elder brother had occupied was now empty. But there was a small note on the pillow, and he took the note and it said, "For I'll take the high road and you'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore you. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond." And what you've got to understand is that the Scots truly believed in those days that if you died outside Scotland, your spirit would return to your homeland. So as far as the elder brother was concerned, although his body lay in Carlisle, his spirit would return to Scotland. The only thing is that he would never meet his true love on the bonny, bonny banks ever again. Well, here we are in the beautiful village of Luss on the banks of Loch Lomond. The village itself has been here since the 19th century. It was actually built for the slate workers, and there's a slate mine just across the other side of the hill there. It was built by the Colquhoun family, and although the village is 19th century, there's been a village here since the Middle Ages. Well, towering above us and behind me is the amazing mountain of Ben Lomond, about 3,500 feet. It's a great track up to the top, so if you want to bring a picnic on a nice day, then you can climb to the top. But the focal point for me in this village is Luss Church, just behind us. And Luss Church has been here since 1875. And although it's a 19th century church, there's been a church building here for about 1,500 years. But the one thing I want to actually look at is the Viking hogback grave. And you've got to ask yourself, why is there a Viking grave on Loch Lomond, an enclosed seawater loch? Well, the reason for that is, just across the other side of the hill, about 2 miles away, is Loch Long. And Loch Long is connected to the sea, to the Atlantic in fact. And the Vikings came all the way up Loch Long and dragged their boats across a 2-mile isthmus onto the loch itself, and then started their raping and pillaging. That's maybe why we've got a Viking grave here in Luss. This is a Viking hogback grave marker. It actually looks like a hog's back, but in fact is the shape of the standard Viking dwelling house. If you look at the base of it, you can actually see some lovely carvings on the bottom as well.
The lands of the Colquhoun clan span the area of Loch Lomond and beyond, and have been in the family since the 14th century. The present laird is Sir Malcolm and Lady Colquhoun of Luss, and this is the entrance to the Colquhoun family seat, Rosdhu House. Over the gates you can see the family crest, a stag's head with the wording in French, "Si je puis," which means, "if I can." I've talked before about clan battles, and this clan had its fair share, but one battle that stands out in the history of the Cahuns is the Battle of Glen Fruin, or the Glen of Sorrows.
Hello, we're now in the middle of Glen Fruin, and I'm standing next to the monument which I'll read to you and tells you about the bloody Battle of Glen Fruin. Near this spot, the Battle of Glen Fruin took place between Clan Cahun and Clan MacGregor, February 1603. We're actually in Clan Cahun lands now, and over the other side of the hill is Clan Gregor lands in a place called the Trossachs. We're actually at the battle site, or close to the battle site, and why it was fought is disputed between both the Cahuns and the MacGregors. The Cahuns state that the year before, the MacGregors had come into their lands to try and steal sheep and cattle and kill two of their kinsmen. The following year, the MacGregors state that actually two MacGregor men were crossing the Cahun lands, were caught out at night, decided to kill a sheep to keep themselves fed, and they were caught in the morning and summarily executed. Because of that, Clan Gregor sent 400 men into the valley to attack the Cahuns. There's no doubt about it, a battle took place, and they reckon there was about 500 Cahuns who also had cavalry and about 400 MacGregors. The difference is that the Gregors were waiting for them, and as the Cahuns came into the glen, they were attacked from both the front and the rear. But the boggy land made it impossible for the horses to actually operate it to any great efficiency, and when the MacGregors came down on the Cahuns, there was a slaughter. 200 of the Cahuns died, and very few of the MacGregors. As it turns out, the bloodied shirts of the Cahuns were taken to Edinburgh by the wives of those men that were slaughtered, and they were shown to the authorities. And from that time on, the MacGregor clan was proscribed, or effectively outlawed. And it was law for any man, any clan, to track down a MacGregor and to kill him. And indeed, because of that particular act, the clan chief plus 11 of his associates were tracked down and executed themselves. This is one of the reasons that the MacGregors had to change their names or flee abroad. And indeed, they weren't allowed to use their name again until 1784, a couple of hundred years after the battle. Well, the two clans did meet again in the 1700s, only 200 years after the original battle that took place in Glen Fruin. And as we stand next to this stone, we can reflect on many of the battles that took place between the clans in Scotland over the 16th and 17th centuries. And there's more of those battles to come in future podcasts. Well, I hope you can join me on my next video podcast at exclusivescottishvisits.co.uk. I've thoroughly enjoyed telling you about Loch Lomond, about Luss and about Glen Fruin and the battles of Scotland. So please join me again at Unique Scotland Video Podcasting. Thank you.